This study addressed the use of tax increment financing, or TIF, for urban redevelopment in California municipalities. And the way that TIF works is that it's applied within redevelopment project areas or TIF districts that are designated by local governments. These areas are considered blighted, such as being in serious disrepair or lacking infrastructure. So the idea is that without incentives provided by TIF, there would be no growth in property values within these districts. And this is what really provides the rationale for the implementation of TIF, because within a TIF district, for all taxing authorities, their tax base is frozen at the time of the district designation. And as redevelopment efforts take place and property values increase, these tax increments would be earmarked to finance improvement within the district. And this is how tax dollars are allocated throughout the lifespan of a district, which typically lasts 3 to 4 decades. So the lifespan of a TIF district is pretty long. And what if at some point TIF no longer functions as this must-have incentive for attracting investment and stimulating improvement? Essentially, before the designation expires, tax revenues that could have flown to overlapping jurisdictions, such as schools and fires, would be simply captured by TIF authority. And in hot real estate markets, such as many areas in California, property values increase substantially over time, and the amount of value capture could be substantial. This also raised the concerns of intergenerational equity, because the lifespan of a TIF district covers multiple generations of students. So what we really want to know in this paper is that regardless of the initial need for implementing TIF, does TIF become a tool for revenue capture before its anticipated expiration date? There's this debate over TIF, whether it serves as a tool of value creation or it becomes a tool for value capture. In terms of value creation, that means TIF is really applied in those areas where without TIF, no property values would not increase. So TIF is really needed in terms of attracting investment and stimulating improvement. Because those areas, again, they are blighted, they are in serious disrepair, and they, without incentives provided by TIF, developers would not want to go into those places and provide the improvements needed for those districts. In terms of value capture, that means without TIF, property values will still grow. But in this case, if you have TIF, then these property values, these increases in property values, which could have gone to overlapping jurisdictions such as school and fire, because of TIF, these revenues that could have gone to overlapping jurisdictions, they will be captured by TIF. One way to look at this issue is to look at trends in property values in TIF districts where TIF no longer functions. The idea is that if property values continue to grow without TIF, then it generally indicates potential returns on investment and that TIF might not be needed. A unique event in California allows us to assess whether this is the case. In California, TIF was administered by redevelopment agencies. In 2012, all of the state redevelopment agencies were dissolved as a result of a lawsuit. So all of a sudden, TIF ceased to exist. Taking advantage of this event, we use hedonic price analysis to estimate and compare the price trajectories of single-family homes that are within, near, and further away from previous TIF districts during the period of 2011 to 2015. So this period captures the year before the dissolution and the 4 years after it. The study area includes 5 cities in North Orange County. It's characterized by a very strong housing market, which typically lessens the need for using TIF for stimulating improvement. But for most of the TIF districts within our study area, the anticipated expiration date were actually no earlier than 2040. The data we use primarily come from Zillow, which includes rich information on arm's length single-family home sales during the study period. So these information includes the characteristics of the homes, times of the sales, and the precise street addresses. And this data allows us to estimate the quality-adjusted price trajectories that are precisely within, near, or further away from TIF districts, which do not have the boundary that align with standard census geography. And then we look at the price trajectories in these different locations in each city. Again, the idea is that if property values continue to appreciate in the absence of TIF, then it indicates TIF might have already begun capturing tax revenues that could have flown to overlapping jurisdictions. We found that property values within or near previous TIF districts continue to grow after TIF was eliminated. This indicates that TIF might have already begun functioning as a tool for revenue capture instead of value creation. The key takeaway is that when public finance authority is split among multiple jurisdictions, it is necessary to have safeguard measures to ensure that tax revenues that could have flown to overlapping jurisdictions are not simply captured by TIF authority. These safeguard measures include setting a more realistic time frame for TIF, or targeting small areas, or requiring input from the affected taxing authorities. A lot of these safeguard measures are actually integrated in TIF successor programs, such as the Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District. However, these programs have not been widely used by local governments, in part because of the implementation challenges and complexity that come with them. So for future research, one area to look into would be the policy design, as well as implementation challenges and best practices that are associated with these TIF successor programs to support the development of infrastructure and communities.